16 and 17, those finals were like peak basketball, just back and forth battles. You see elite skill, you see elite, coaching and strategy out there. Yeah. And I mean, I sit down, my little brothers sit next to me, and we'll just sit there and just watch these games series straight through.
I'll sometimes throw on the games from that time as well. That was such great basketball. I actually think, it's easy to say it now, and I'm not trying to do any revisionist history or say, back in my day, but I think that those two teams would have been crazy elite in today's game.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Old Man and Three. I'm your host, Cam Johnson, with co-host Tommy Alter. This episode is going to be a pretty cool one, man. We got Kevin Love, NBA legend, joining us. Tommy?
Yeah, man. I will say this. Kevin, he says this, I think, on the show. He doesn't really do that many interviews or pods or anything. JJ and I did a couple episodes with him, and he's a good friend of mine. I see him all the time, but he says no to almost everybody. I will say he did this because of you. Because if I had asked him to do it by myself, it would have been like a hard-ass no.
Because he's the man.
Yeah, he's the man, and you guys, he's doing some stuff in Pittsburgh. You guys have the Pittsburgh connection. This was a dope ep though. This was
a very cool ep. A little different. It goes in some different directions, some familiar directions. But what he has to offer in terms of knowledge, in terms of experience, and a unique perspective on his career and the Utah Jazz as a whole, it's definitely a cool ep.
I want to talk about some NFL stuff before we get to Kev. But before we do that, you and I were talking about this yesterday, talking about it a little before we started taping. The injury stuff you guys are going through just sucks. Like I've never seen anything like as long as I've been around the NBA. And obviously the good thing is, knock on wood, everybody's going to be back. Sometimes you have these things and they're year ending and it changes the trajectory of the season. But at the same point, it's pretty tough. And I know it's a bummer for you, but it's a bummer for all the guys, but just sort of, being a part of this right now.
Yeah, man. It's just a brutal stretch for us right now. It happens in this league. It happens. For everything to kind of line up in this way where it's kind of one after another, it's definitely tough. Everybody's putting their best foot forward at rehab. We got guys, AG and CB have already stepped back onto the court, which is just great for us. And then, it's just a battle. It's just a fight from there on, and everybody's going to work to just get back in peak shape. And hopefully we grab that momentum back in the regular season. In the meantime, the guys that we have playing are doing a great job, stepping up, competing on a night in, night out basis. And, I'm really loving what I'm seeing. And guys like DeRon Holmes getting an opportunity to go out there and play major minutes, and Zeke playing more minutes, and then P.Y., you're seeing him kind of have the ball in his hand more and be more of a scorer. It's going to be great for those guys to be able to step up and really find their rhythms and get reps and see different situations. But overall, man, tough stretch, but we're gonna push through.
I was also going to say, this is and you've lived this before, you never know when you need the depth once it gets to April and May, just because you just never know what's going to happen with this kind of thing. And so it's good to get guys minutes now and burn now because you're going to potentially need them. If everyone's healthy the entire year, it's hard. The team is so good. It's hard to find minutes otherwise. So it definitely is, if you're going to look for any sort of shining, positivity in any of this, it is the fact that you are allowing those reps.
Yeah, and NBA experience is nothing you can do to recreate that in-game experience. So exactly what you said. Let's get to the NFL stuff. What you got for me?
Well, we are taping this before Wild Card Weekend. Your hated Steelers.
I don't hate them. I don't hate them as much as I used to.
Had a nice little.
I was watching the game. I was happy for them. I was happy for my friends, my family, people who love the Steelers. Like, I'm getting phone calls. These people are excited. The city's excited. I don't harbor the hatred that I used to have when I was a kid. You kind of grow an appreciation for the brand. So,
it's very mature.
Shout out to the Steelers, man. It was a great game. It was a playoff game. It was like watching a playoff game. I enjoyed it. You got to feel so bad for a kicker in that situation. Just all the weight of the world on your shoulders. But
it reminded me of a playoff game, but also like a college game with the missed kicks.
Yeah, Pittsburgh is a hard place to kick field goals. Historically, it's always been that way. And, that's why when the Ravens decided to let that 12 seconds run off and center it a little bit, I was like, 44 anywhere else, easy. But 44 in Pittsburgh, bizarre, not as straightforward.
It's bizarre. It's funny you say that because I was thinking about this, as growing up a Bears fan. Do you remember the double doink game?
How could you forget it?
They did the same shit. It was this, the teams do this sometimes. They get too cute. It's like they hit a big play and they get in field goal range and then they just shut it completely down because they're worried about fumbling or whatever it is or centering the ball. But I'm like, a 44-yard field goal is not a gimme. And you had Derrick Henry and you got a timeout. I would much rather have a 24-yard field goal.
Or a 38.
Yeah,
37. If he picks up 5 yards, you get it under 40, 39. It just seems more manageable.
Yeah,
and I'm sure Luke feels a little bit better about it. But in the end, I mean, that's the call they went with. The odds are in the Ravens' favor at that point. It's over 50% he's going to hit that field goal, and it just so happened that he did it. And so I feel for them, but happy for Steeler Nation for sure.
What else are you looking forward to this weekend?
Oh man. I want to see if there's going to be any Eagles hangover for not going after the, what did they end up getting, the 3?
Yeah.
They gave out the 2 to your Bears.
They're playing San Fran, and they were basically just like, we don't care about who we play. They're coming in really cocky about it, which, I get it. It's defending champs.
We'll see. They're a really good football team, so we'll see. 49ers, Seahawks. Seahawks really proved their stuff. It really put if the 49ers, they were talking about all broadcasts, if they had won that game, every game that they would play for the rest of the season would be a home game through the Super Bowl. So that on the table for them was just probably, maybe even a little too much. You never know. But that's a big loss for them. I'll just be interested to see how these division winners stack up. I mean, they're all home teams here, but they're all technically worse teams than the team they're going up against. So it's going to be a good wild card weekend.
The Rams came out. The Rams are the winner of yesterday to me.
Yeah.
Whoever got Carolina was the winner. I think I'll say this. I'm not confident in the Bears. I'm just saying this right now. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. I think the season has been a success, objectively speaking, no matter what. I think experience. I think that experience matters, and I think that it's not like the Packers, have a huge amount of experience, but those guys have been there before. And the Bears have had a tough time, excluding 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago with them historically. But I also think that you can kind of throw all that out in a rivalry game, so it's a little bit like that's definitely the one. That's definitely to me, I'm a fan, but that would be if I had no rooting interest in any of the games this weekend. That's the one that feels like the biggest tune in.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot on the line. I don't really have any predictions for who's going to take it, man. This is the most wide open it's ever been. You don't have Mahomes in the playoffs. You don't have, you got Allen in there. It's like, it's very wide open.
I'll tell you who I feel good about. I feel good about the team that is plays in the city you are currently sitting in. That's what I feel.
If you're Denver, you got to be really happy with how things shook out. And I know the Patriots probably wanted that bye super bad, but Denver's sitting pretty right now. And just the way that defense has been playing and the capabilities of that offense, man, it's just they got a shot. They got a really good shot.
That's what I think. That's what I think too, because that defense will keep them in every single game, and they don't have to. Bo, like, he's so boom or bust, but he doesn't have to do that much, and he has the ability to do it.
And you're at home, divisional championship game. If you make it to the championship game, let's just hope they pull off some magic and start, and the magic stays in the air for the rest of the Denver teams.
We might have to go. I feel, although it's annoying when you just only go for we didn't go to any regular season games.
And they're like,
so you show up for the playoffs. So we'll go, but we'll be low key.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Next up, Kevin Love. It's a good episode. Hope you guys enjoy.
Very special guest today, a legend, Kevin Love.
Very special. Appreciate that.
We need to start by clarifying a thing. You've not been on the show.
Well, let me interject. I refuse to do podcasts.
Yes, that is
and it's not like I'm doing a favor, but I really like Cam. We've hung out. We've had many great talks about Pittsburgh, and Pennsylvania and the Northeast. So I'm here. Great ball player. And then Tommy, we are close. So here I am.
Last night, 16-16. You had a great post-game quote. Their last podium game was when Lyndon Johnson was in office.
Yeah.
Do you actually know when the last podium game was?
I have no idea. But I was telling people it's my favorite LBJ. I'm kidding. Yeah, I mean, Vietnam, if we really want to go back to that, we could, no, I had to pick it was just came out of nowhere, left field. I just had to pick a president. Picked Lyndon B for no reason.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, it's a good call.
You've been hooping. You've been hooping.
Yeah, I've been hooping.
You're going to see it tomorrow.
Thank you.
How do you feel about the group so far?
I love the group. I mean, you guys are speaking to Key and Lowry after this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they've both been amazing. I mean, what are they the highest scoring duo in the league? Yeah, up there. I mean, it's definitely top 5. So they've been able to, in different ways, really make a lot of noise for us. But I just, in terms of a game like last night, I think I talked about and stressed communication and it being the great equalizer and foundation of any relationship. But as you know, I always say, and this is not mine, but you can hear a great team. So if you're talking and you're communicating, it's fun. You're getting stops, the bench is up, you're talking shit, you're getting it done on the offensive end. You can't just let one dictate the other. And so many young teams, I've been, guilty of that and been at the mercy of that myself, being on young teams early in my career and just wanting to do so well and being tight and having that anxiety to want to play really well, is that you don't play well on the offensive end and you let that dictate what happens on the other end. So I've been very happy to see us take leaps in that way. And while it doesn't always show up maybe in the stat sheet or the win column, we're getting better. And Will said it last night in his press conference too. So it's good to see on a young team. I didn't know what to expect when I got here, but I've been very pleasantly surprised from everything from ownership and Ryan Smith to the front office to the coaching staff, players, all the way through. It's been, a blessing in my 18th year to be a part of this team. And, someplace, you never know where you're going to end up. I did not expect to be traded, but as far as a landing spot goes and, just saying, yeah, so many people are saying, oh, what if it doesn't work out? What if it doesn't work out? I'm like, what if it does? Right. And I think just adding value, whether I'm playing or not, is something that's giving me a lot of happiness and a lot of joy this late in my career. And I think that has allowed me to see a lot of the good and what this team has been able to bring and move forward. But again, it all starts with Lowry and Key.
The way you guys have been playing recently, you can tell that there is veteran impact on that group as a whole. And so that's really cool to see from the outside for you guys. How receptive is that group? Do you see the potential for growth there with those guys and their futures?
That's a great question, because it's not always the case. They are very receptive. We have a really good group of dudes that, have some dog in them, know how to play, want to play the right way. And I think you see that. I don't know what our assist numbers say, but, we're constantly looking at, how many shots have been assisted on, making the extra pass. If guys are, getting screen assists, Nurk just absolutely eats people on screens. And, I think there's on both sides, we're willing to listen to them. They're willing to listen to us. So I think that back and forth is extremely healthy, but it's cool. And I tell the guys, you don't know how good you have it here. I've been on, this is my 4th team now, different organizations, different owners, coaching staffs. I've been on teams that have revolving doors. I've been on, I think, just about the youngest team in the league, a 15-win team, 17-win team. I've been on a team that's won the championship. So in seeing all of it, these guys, a lot of them only know what they know, just being in one organization. And being elsewhere, that's like what I'm trying to tell them is like, you have an owner that knows your name, like every player. And then you have a GM, a president, you have Danny Ainge that is like, no, we believe in you. We want you to grow. You're allowed to fuck up. You're allowed to have mistakes. And we're going to have grace in allowing you to take a step forward and be better and get better. So we want to improve so that you're one of our guys and we're going to build you up through this roster and through this organization. And then you have a coach that I've been on teams. I came in and into the league and, I had a coach that played under Bobby Knight and Randy Whitman, and I was the only rookie. And this is back when hazing was still a thing. And I had guys on my team that were like, we are going to fuck with this guy as much as we want. And I was the 5th pick and I came in, I'm like, okay, this is going to be cool. Not easy, but like I'm gonna have to pay my dues and everything. And that was a tough year for me. I had success, but it was a very tough year for me. But like Will just puts his arm around him and is like, you're good. You don't get that everywhere. You don't get that everywhere. And I think it's part of being, his temperament. I hate to call him a young coach because I'm an old player and we're the same age.
Yep.
But no, I think that might be lost on guys because it's something that they don't really understand or they know because it's all that they know this early in their career. Or maybe, like I said, this is the only place that they've been, but I think it's on the veterans and guys like myself to let them know like, hey, you have an unbelievable opportunity here to grow and play the long game.
How has your relationship with Will been?
Great. He was, I think he was the first person I spoke to. It was either him or Austin Ainge. It was either him or Austin. So, I think the thing that I wanted most, I talk about communication, was just like transparency. And the thing that Will told me was, hey, you might not play big minutes or play for an extended period of time, but that opportunity might be there. Just work. I mean, like you always have, just work. But he said, you will have a role on this team. You will have a role. And I think when I was, making my decision on, going to Utah in late September, that was something that really drove me to go, because I think that everybody in this league wants to add value and wants to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And I think there was an immediate trust factor with Will. I mean, I haven't had a close relationship with him over the course of time since he's been in the league, but I've known Will. I've known the people he's been around. I know, who he is, where he comes from. And I think that just like immediate connection has helped us grow into a pretty great relationship now. It's like with my agent, he always says, I'm going to talk to you as your friend. I'm going to talk to you as your agent. And so with Will, it's like, I go to him sometimes now. It's like, all right, I'm going to talk to you as a friend. I'm going to talk to you as a coach. So it's been a very healthy, transparent, open dialogue type of relationship that I think is just going to continue to grow. And I want to help. I think every player wants to be an extension of the coaching staff when they get to their later stage in their career, so they know what the coach and the coaching staff wants. But I'm really trying to be that and help him when, he's using his voice a lot, or the coaches are using their voice a lot, and sometimes that gets drowned out. So I need to find ways to then use mine to help them.
Are there sort of specific traits when you look back at all the different great coaches you've had that you feel like they're very different in their own ways, but that they all share?
Yeah, I mean, it's like looking at Spo too, and Will's the same way. All different temperaments across the board. Like I thought McHale had a lot working for him. Rick Alleman, he was outside of his prime, like probably didn't have that raw youthful energy or hunger at the time he got to Minnesota. There was Ty Lue, JB. I'm sure I'm missing a couple, but coaches that help move the needle and move it forward. All of them have different temperaments, but I think like a insane desire to be competitive and be great. Like a little bit, like you kind of have to have a screw loose. You have to get to this level anyways. Like I'm an American-born white boy from suburban Oregon. I had to have something fucking wrong with me to get to this point, right? Like my dad was a psycho, and he helped me do it. He would, drop me off in Killingsworth in the inner city and next to Portland Community College and Jefferson High School, and be like, "Okay, it's Thursday. We'll pick you up Sunday. Bye." Like he's like, he grew up in Inglewood. He's just, he was crazy about the game. So I think he taught that insane desire for me, and I don't think it's any different with coaches. And I think preparation is huge. Film, because the film doesn't lie. And now with advanced analytics being so, driving our game so much, I think that is a huge part of it too. So it's a lot. I don't think temperament necessarily. I mean, I think it does matter because I don't think at this level, in high school, you say, "Oh, everybody coaches the same opportunity." That's bullshit. Like there's guys making $50 million, $60 million, then there's guys making $3 million. Like you're not coaching those guys the same. You're not giving those guys the same opportunity. So I think it's a understanding of who they are. I feel like you can, with anybody like us here, like you can feel authenticity, right? If somebody's not authentic, you're probably not going to respect them like you should. You're not going to get the best out of those type of guys. But I also think it's finding out how to like initiate that flame too. Like how are you going to get the best out of your guys? And understanding the person. I'm a big person on like, getting to know somebody and like understand what makes them tick. So therefore they can better help the team. I need to know how I'm going to coach this guy versus this guy. So I think all those people I mentioned are very smart in how they operate and how they do that, but obviously many different styles.
I think in my short, comparatively 7 years in the league, it's so much comes down to just personality fit of coach with personality fit of players. You could have an amazing coach, and if he doesn't vibe with the players at some level, especially your ones and twos, then you have no chance. And I've seen coaches kind of get swung around, and I've seen, the personalities that they've been matched up with work really well and not work really well. And, I think there's a lot of people in our game across the league that have great basketball minds. I don't think that's an issue. Mm-hmm. I think there's a ton of them, assistant coach all the way down through coaching lineups, head coaches across the league. There are great basketball minds everywhere, but I just think it's that management. Like that's step one. You have to be able to.
It's managing personalities.
Yes,
too.
You have to be able to effectively manage personalities,
and
especially of your ones and twos. Yep. While keeping everybody engaged. I've heard stories across the league of that going really well, and I've heard stories across the league of that going horribly, and the results kind of tend to follow.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Would you consider that, is that a version of EQ in terms of just being able to just
absolutely
read
for
that?
sure? Absolutely. And it's not, I always say that jump from that head assistant, that one seat over, is a massive jump. Like I've seen a lot of coaches be great head assistants and great assistants, but are not fit to be a head coach in this league. And it's just like, I don't know how many are, right? Like Cam said, like there are some really great basketball minds and guys that are fit to be great coaches in this league, but not head coaches. Those can be mutually exclusive. And I think you see that often. And I don't envy being on, them being on that side of things, because it's so much, what have you done for me lately? I mean, it all started, I'm trying to think of, what is it, like George Karl or Sam Mitchell or, is Dwayne Casey later? But how many coach of the years have come back the next year and then been fired? It's insane. Mm-hmm. Did it happen with Mike Malone?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a year or two later, he just won a championship, right?
He's gone yet. It's like within 2 months, it's like already they're treating you out. Like we got to switch it up
for sure, because that's what it's become now. It's like, it's always been, what have you done for me lately? But now it's even more so under a microscope because of the world we live in.
Who do you think the smartest players you've played with have been?
Easy LeBron. I mean, he knows he's playing so much damn golf now that I don't know if he knows everybody's play, but he was the type of guy that could, in shoot around or even out there on the floor. Like he could do every team scout. He knew every team's play, he knew every guy's tendency. He watched endless amount of basketball. But then if we're talking like savant, like basketball savant, somebody that we better hope, we're got to be very happy that they're not like 6'5" or 6'6", is, again, it's like I tell people all the time, like Kyrie. He's a freak. He's a freak. He's the most Like if you ask me the, top 5 post scorers in the league, I'm putting Kyrie right up there. Like that's just such a thing that like an art form that's, it's like all the Kobe footwork and the shots and like, shooting over a hand or, the footwork. And he's just I tell people all the time, like you talk about below the rim finishing. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And in practice, nobody watching, no cameras on, we're running 5s. I don't know if I've ever seen a better player. It's insane.
The scout.
I know those are like 2 guys I played with on the championship team. But
the scout thing is funny.
Very smart.
I would say we've done a minimum episodes with 3 different guys from those Raptors teams: DeMar, Norm, and somebody else, and all of them in their own way basically talked about how demoralizing it was. Where it was like, it's the 3rd quarter of Game 5, and they're coming down, and he's calling everything out, and they basically are just like we already have to deal with you guys, like with your talent as a group. Now we also have to deal with him knowing exactly what we're going to do,
right.
And so that just feels like such a luxury to be around that, because you just are. It's just a gift,
It's a true gift. And, he does, in terms of basketball, like have a photographic type memory. I mean, you've seen some of those press conferences where he's going back and going through several plays in sequence, and he's, picking out details and players and where he was on the floor and where they were on the floor and what the time and score was of the game. Like that's not normal. So, I think in seeing it firsthand and up close for so long, it's not lost on me that is very special. And it's just a hack. He's best player in the world, and, is a 6'8", 6'9", 200, I don't even know, 60-pound freight train is setting the tone in that way. You can't do anything but try and meet him at that level and be inspired by it.
Well, I just want to piggyback off what he's saying, because your Cleveland teams were extremely special. And over the summers, I watch a lot of old games. Like I just love to put them on in the house. Just go.
I love watching
to YouTube and just let games play.
Yeah.
And my favorite ones are always by far the 16 and 17 finals games. I mean, that got to be some of the best basketball ever played. And it's crazy because, basketball always gets better. So, we'll watch 05, 10, 95, and it's like, okay, you see the change in skill. Like 16 and 17, those finals were like peak basketball, just back and forth battles. You see elite skill, you see elite, coaching and strategy out there. Yeah. And I mean, I sit down, my little brothers sit next to me, and we'll just sit there and just watch these games series straight through.
Yeah. And that's fun. That's like my childhood too, doing that as well. But I'll sometimes throw on the games from that time as well. That was such great basketball. I actually think, it's easy to say it now, and I'm not trying to do any revisionist history or say, back in my day, but I think that those 2 teams would have been crazy elite in today's game had we adjusted for how the game is played now. I think we'd have been crazy elite because both teams had size. Both teams had guys that could switch 1 through 5, could really shoot it. I mean, at the time both teams were breaking 3-point records in the regular season and in the playoffs. So you adjust that for speed and volume and advanced statistics where they're at now and how much better, to Cam's point, like the game has gotten. It just continues to get better.
Was 2017 Game 1, Bron, in the Bay? Where does that rank for you in terms of individual performances?
I mean, it was a shame that, because stealing Game 1, say a series doesn't start till, the away team wins a game, right? So that one was rough because they went back to the scorer's table and Ed Malloy changed a call, and it was bad. I mean, that one sticks with me because that was a masterclass by LeBron. That was incredible. I mean, that was one of the best, because let's call it what it is. Like we were outmatched. Like, it's a tough team, like a 73-9 team. Because I always say, our most talented team was our 16-17 team. We were the most talented. That was the most talent what we had. 15-16 was great, but then we progressed into all right, we know who we are. We know what we're capable of. We're a machine. Nobody's going to beat us. We're gonna make it to the finals and really have another shot. But again, like it's been talked about at length. People feel how they feel about it. I love KD. I've known him forever. But again, like a 73-9 team adds one of the greatest players of all time. That's tough. That's really tough. So we get beat 4-1 and they were the better team. Just the way it shakes out. But in 2018, to my point, we were just overmatched. We were overmatched. They were, again, like you talk about a machine. It was tough, for us to overcome that hill or that mountain. And, if we would have gotten game one, we could have at least made it some sort of a series. I'm not saying we would have won, but that was one I felt like, who deserves what? I don't know. But like, I felt like we deserved to win that one. I thought we played an exceptional game.
Do you think basketball intelligence could be taught?
I think there's people that have just an innate feel. Like you can't teach what Jokic does. You can't really teach the manipulation of the game that Harden did back in those years that we just spoke about. And then what like Shea is doing now. I mean, I think that there's ways that like you can come off screens, put guys in jail and manipulate it that way. But those guys, again, like into the free throw line, if you're going to be a 25, 30 plus point a game scorer, you have to be very smart and very elite and understand concepts and understand both sides of the ball. So I think to a point for sure, but then I do think there's, an innate feel and something inside guys in terms of, what they have up here that sets them apart. Like, I think you have to be great. I think you have to be very, very smart. You have to have that. Like there's guys that have natural talent and natural ability, that makes them really special things happen out there on the floor and over the course of their career. But if you're going to be truly great, I think that you have to have that. But I don't know, like to what extent and to what point that you can take that basketball knowledge. I mean, maybe Cam will have a better answer.
No, maybe this might be controversial, but I would say no, it can't be. And I'd say the things that you're saying that are basketball intelligence, let's say reads, let's say defensive stuff, let's say timing, let's say putting people in jail, whatever moves you make. I think those are skills that are taught, and how quickly you pick them up is your basketball intelligence, right?
Right.
So those are just, manifestations of your intelligence. Yeah. So I think everybody, like when you talk about ceilings of potentials of players, I think that's kind of the hidden thing that allows them to be the best player they can be or stops them. And I think that's what it comes down to for almost every basketball player. And especially when you get to the NBA level, when kind of athleticism and all those things almost to an extent even out. Yeah.
Level out. But no, application is massive, and being able to like pick up concepts fast and apply them. I think that's huge.
If you're Adam for the day tomorrow, you could change one thing about the league.
Well, I'll tell you selfishly what's really fucking stupid.
Say it.
Is that, first of all, these aprons are fucking with the game. You're telling me that you are going to, and that's on our side. They know exactly who they are that did it. Like, Cam, you're not a part of that, are you?
No, I mean, no, not part of that. No.
If you were, I'd sit here and tell you to your face.
No, I was not part of that.
We did it.
And selfishly, like for me, like you're telling me that Oklahoma City can't keep those three guys together because of these aprons? That's bullshit. So you're telling me that Sam Presti, the greatest, all the things that he's done is handcuffed because of these fucking aprons?
Yes. That's what we're saying.
So for drafting well and building a team in the greatest of ways, you're gonna like, you can't keep teams together. They're unbelievable. They are a machine. We've already played them a couple times here. They're unbelievable. And like they all celebrate each other. They're all a cohesive unit. You can tell like they had a number of guys out against us, and they're coming in, and their player development is crazy. You can tell they have like established a sense of community and who they are. The level that it is inspirational. I know it sounds like I'm fucking, what are they going to say, glazing them, sucking them off, whatever. But the level that they sprint back on defense up 30, I'm like, look at these guys. I mean, they want it. I'm not saying other teams don't, but they definitely have something special there. That I keep talking about teams being a machine. Like they have something special there in the fact that that team can't stay together because of these rules being implemented, and teams are,
especially when it's guys they drafted.
Yeah, that's what I mean. These guys got drafted. These are homegrown guys. Yeah. They've done the work. They did the due diligence to draft these guys. Oh, we're gonna go get this guy. I mean, obviously, like Chet was an obvious pick, but Shea obviously was, within the trade with Paul George, but like, and Chet was, like I said, easy, but like, oh, we're going to go get this kid from Santa Clara and he's going to end up being like all these guys that they ended up going to get too, and building these rosters out, and Lou Dort and Caruso and everybody throughout their lineup.
Did you know?
And I'll say this, my last thing is that, like, you selfishly, being like I'm slightly over the vet minimum now, but like coming back, and that keeps going up, it's going to affect the cap even more. Whereas like it didn't do that before. So teams aren't allowed to, I mean, they are allowed to, but it's going to hit their cap worse than it previously had, signing a veteran.
Yeah.
And I think veterans matter. I mean, I'm biased, obviously, sitting here and saying that, but within a locker room, I think
I double down and agree. Yeah. Wholeheartly agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah. No, I think players would.
They come on this show every week and say that.
Yeah.
So a different person says that every
week.
I
think you look at, those certain teams around the league, I think people can figure it out, that you can tell that the lack of leadership is there, and building a team identity and building a culture. I think that you need vets. And for me, I know firsthand, like, and this is not shitting on anybody, that I came into the league my first 3 to 5, 6 years before I left and went to Cleveland, is that, I didn't have a great vet or somebody that was, a high, super high achiever, or all-star, or guy that was Hall of Famer or won at the highest level, that was able to come in and show me the way, show me how to be a pro. So when I got to Cleveland, I had terrible habits. I tell people about it all the time. Like, I had terrible habits. I didn't know what it meant to sacrifice. I was the man, and I came in and I ended up being, the third guy, and how am I going to navigate that, and what should be my temperament? I mean, my disposition on, where I stand, if I need to look in the mirror and actually understand where I'm at. I think that my adjustment period and, my application period in terms of fitting with that team would have been a lot faster. And what would that have done for us? So I do think veterans matter for a whole slew of reasons. So again, the aprons are unfortunate in that way. Now, are people going to sit here and say he's a fucking idiot? I don't care. I don't know. But, in terms of that, I don't know.
I think the other thing, to the point earlier about your guys, the series with the Warriors, we're seeing this in other sports as well. From a pure rating standpoint, dynasties are good for ratings. Dynasties are good for buzz. Teams going back to the finals year after year are good for buzz. We're going to see this year with the NFL. We talked about this before. Chiefs not being in the playoffs is not going to be a good thing for the NFL ratings.
Right.
The NFL is the NFL. It's, it's probably going to be, they'll probably be fine. They'll figure something else out. But like, the Chiefs being there every year is the Dodgers being in the World Series every year is good for baseball.
Yeah.
The Warriors playing the Cavs, maybe not every year, is a good thing for the NBA. And so you want these teams.
Sure. Popcorn is ready.
You want these teams to have the ability, especially to your point, when they're drafting these guys, they're not, and it isn't there is still a cap. So it's not just like, oh, the Lakers can go sign whoever they want and they're going to blow out the small markets. You want the ability to have the Thunder in the finals for 5 years in a row.
Obviously, you had the Lakers, you had Boston. I wouldn't put Houston in there, but then you have the Bulls, then you have the Lakers, then you have San Antonio, then you have Lakers and Boston again. Let's say that those were dynasty, but Kobe won 2 more, and then Spurs bleed all the way through the 2010s. Miami won a couple, but then it's like you have the dynasty of obviously Golden State, but now you have like, what is it, Toronto and Milwaukee and obviously LA, Oklahoma City. I'm missing a couple in there, of course.
Boston,
LA, Boston, exactly. Denver. So it's like been a different team every. Denver, of course, beat us, but like a different team every year. And I like that there's some parity, of course, but now we're going to see the other side, like, of those aprons and how they're going to start affecting teams, like effective immediately. Like now you're going to start seeing that, which is, I think, a shame. I think it's too bad. And that's somebody saying like, I'm leaning into the dynasty type of feel towards it, but you can't, especially for drafting well, you can't hit somebody over the head and fault them for that. I don't agree with that whatsoever.
I like that conversation right there, and I had the same conversation about OKC. Like the cap reaper's coming.
Yeah, the cap reaper.
The cap reaper's coming. They can't avoid it. They got guys that are going to need to be paid, and they got guys whose money's going to start kicking in.
Yeah,
and it's going to have huge consequences on their roster.
Yeah,
and we've talked about them on the show a lot, especially last year. And I don't really want to get to talking about them anymore. We don't see them for a couple months, but like you said, like it's like
it's a different situation now.
It is completely different, but they shouldn't be punished for doing everything the right way. Like that, everything you mentioned just points to. We talked about it last year. I think the word we used was like drinking the Kool-Aid. Like they're just bought in to the maximum extent with a lot of talent, and it shows how far I can take it.
Yeah.
So like that's what you want the NBA.
Now
to
they
be.
suck at partying.
It's just probably okay.
Yeah, I mean, it works for them.
Maybe
I'm just gonna go home and play video games, and I can't open champagne, and like, it's cool.
Okay.
It's cool. I'm like, hey, it works for them.
But yeah, I mean, that's everything that you want programs to be, and that makes for good basketball, and it makes for stuff people want to watch. So, like you said, it's a little counterintuitive.
Yeah, and I know everything about the CBA and where it stands and the aprons? No. Of course not, but I do know that, they haven't played the best brand of basketball this year, but even look at Cleveland. Like somebody's gonna have to go. Yeah, it's like I like it. The cap reaper, it's coming, and it's gonna be a damn shame to see some of these teams lose guys that and be in a space where they're gonna have to choose and who they're gonna have to pick. It's
weird.
It's a weird space to be in.
It's a weird thing in the locker room. It's like
everyone
knows it,
right?
It's not a secret.
And we better enjoy this while we can because it's going to be gone in a couple of years once we get to our second contracts. Like, of course they got it, but they get 300 million, 250 million, 260 million. Like,
it's not much you can do outside of that.
No, and then you're going to have to get what do you do with Hartenstein? What do you do with Dort? What do you do with all these guys?
And Caruso's on the books. He's 4-year extended.
Right.
Dort still has 2 left, maybe 1 left after this, I believe. But then Wallace is going to come up if AJ Mitchell keeps playing the way he's playing. You still got Wiggins, you still got Joe. They're not on minimums; they're on mid-level area.
Right, and they add so much to everything that they're doing, and they're just like, nope, we got to go. We got to get ready.
For both you guys, what do you think makes a great teammate?
Someone who's real, first and foremost.
Authenticity, 100%.
Someone who's real, that's authentic, that's themselves. But in terms of somebody that makes a great teammate, there's an unselfish aspect to it, and there's an aspect to where it's bigger than them, and a lot of times it shows up almost as able to carry the mood of the team, lift the mood of the team, be a stabilizing presence. So there's guys that'll do it in ways that everybody kind of rolls their eyes at, here he goes. Mm-hmm. But there's guys that have such genuine ways of being great teammates, of being able to lift people up, whether they're playing a lot, whether they're not playing a lot. And and sometimes that's the funny guy on the team. Sometimes it's a serious guy on the team. But those guys are the best teammates.
I mean, that pretty much hit it on the head. That's why I used to talk about Jared Allen all the time being my favorite player, and he was kind of selfish in all the right ways, because he's like, I'm just going to grab every board that I can. I don't care if I elbow you in the face. So sometimes I just started tipping rebounds to him, like, you got it. Didn't care if he got dunked on. Like, every play he was going to go for, and he was just unapologetic, and he is unapologetically himself. Like, who he is as a person is just he knows that I love him. I feel like I talked about Chet. Like, Chet's the same way to me. He has a little bit of shit to him, but again, it's all just about the team and with who he is and how he dresses, and he's just unapologetically himself. And I love that. Like, being in a locker room with those type of guys, I think you feel it. They're authentic. They lift the mood of the team. They provide energy to the team just with, within who they are. Again, I talk about communication, but guy doesn't necessarily have to be a great communicator to be a great teammate. I just think adding value to the team and, having unselfish tendencies. Like, you can always bring your ego to the table, but how are you going to help the team function at a high level and get the best out of the team and bringing that? So I think most people would have a majority of the same answer too. I think that's, I mean, Cam hit it on the head. There's not really too much I can say outside of that.
We need to clarify something. Your Instagram, a work of art, a true, I would say, of anybody who's had success on social media in the last couple of years, you are probably in the top 5 to 10 in terms of just developing a presence. There's been a lot of rumors about how these videos and how this content comes to be. Can you clarify for the audience? Because I know the answer to this, but can you clarify for the audience how you do this? Because I feel like there's been a lot of stuff out there that is not accurate.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like it that way too, like Marty Supreme type of stuff. But I like to have a good time. I think a lot of people don't understand actually my personality and who I am unless they've shared a locker room with me or been around me long enough. But I think last year, especially with like all the Jimmy shit going on and just how crazy that was, you know, I thought it was a good time with a little bit of a push to, you know, show a little bit of that personality while also blending, like you guys just spoke about before we got on, the cinematic and you know, kind of TV and film knowledge that I have, because, you know, life imitates art. There's just so many of those scenes, and, you know, throughout the course of time, so many great movies or, you know, pictures that definitely are applicable to every life situation. But I had a person in my life that said, you need to start showing more of your personality outwardly. And it was actually the fight in Houston that we have, well, fight, like Tyler Hero's not fighting anybody. Terry Rozier, Thompson, you know, that was hilarious. So I just decided that, you know what, I'm going to start pulling some stuff and press and send. I had never really done that before. I think everybody likes their stuff to be hyper curated, and we live in a world now where it's just a highlight reel all the time. So again, I wanted to fuck around and have a good time with it, and here we are. I really enjoyed doing that, so much so that, you know, it was cool. I got to play kind of both sides. I wasn't picking a side with, you know, I wasn't looking at Pat Riley or Andy Ellisberg or Coach Spo or any of my teammates, you know, that were on that side. And I wasn't picking a side with Jimmy. I was kind of playing in the middle of the line and wanted to make it fun. And then from there, it just kind of took on a life of its own. But for me, all I do is I screen record it on YouTube and make it within that copyright. I had to figure that out where, you know, if it's not a reel, if it's just a static post, that has to be under that 30-second clip. And somehow it's just continued to work out. So I've had fun with that. I've kind of stopped like for now because I should have had something for like Nico Harrison and like that whole thing.
I think you time it out right though. You don't overdo it. You're never
oversaturated.
Yeah, you're never at a point where it's like he's doing too much. Like you figure out how to just pick your spots and kind of land the plane.
And just be on point. Yeah. Like,
just on point. Yeah. Always on point. And
speaking of cinematic,
but now I have a log of stuff that
you're ready.
It's loaded.
Yeah. I'm like, that could be a good one.
Loaded.
Yeah.
Generally the way this goes is 9 seconds after he's posted, Sean Feeney and I will get a text.
Oh, I sent it right to him.
From him being like, this is
I need
thing.
comment and confirmation.
And then within 8 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes, it'll take on a life of its own and it'll just be everywhere.
He texts you guys before posting?
Oh no, it's right after.
Right after.
It's already gone. It's gone.
Within a minute.
If we were ever, not that we would, but if we were ever going to talk him out of it, it's too late. It's already out.
Oh no. That's why I'm like, somehow I can get away with it. I might need it. But I don't know. It's just a take on the absurdity of not only our game and where we find like the soap opera and the shit that we have to deal with, but also like pop culture, and there's a lot going on.
What's the best thing you've watched this year?
Probably Pluribus. I mean, I think Vince Gilligan is a genius. Everything that he touches kind of turns to gold. And I was talking to Ben about it too. We just continue to go back and forth. And as far as TV shows go, and I know that's like a stock, easy answer, but just the whole concept and the beauty of the cinematography, the score, like they just nailed it on every front. So I would say that's probably at the very top for me.
What about you?
Favorite TV show I've watched this year?
Or movie, anything.
This is going to sound hilarious. But I'm a huge Jurassic Park fan. So anytime those movies come back.
It's my first movie I ever saw in theater.
Really?
Jurassic Park. It was like what, like 94?
95.
95? Yeah. Think about that though.
93.
That's a crazy
93?
first movie
93.
to watch.
Yeah, my dad had to cover my eyes in theater. He's like, "We're going to see this in theater." And when the T-Rex screamed for the first time, I was like, "Yeah, oh no, I was."
I mean, the CGI for that time was unreal.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. But didn't Spielberg did he go? Wasn't it like Schindler's List followed by
Schindler's List was like 93.
Yeah, but followed by Jurassic Park, which is like a hell of
and then he had Saving Private Ryan in 98.
Incredible.
I think he had a couple things in between. But then also Michael Crichton, the guy that wrote Jurassic Park, also did ER.
Yeah.
So it's like everyone that was like a Murderer's Row franchise of everybody who actually put that thing together. Wait, so you saw Jurassic Park this year?
For sure. Multiple times.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
I'm just amazed at the writing too that we have. Man, it's like the third golden age of TV. Just the writing is so special right now, and just that is something that really compels me. I mean, you heard me talk about it in the summer when we were in the Upper West Side, and with Ben, talking to those guys, and with Nick. I don't know if I have to give any more context, but just that writing, that medium in today's world that we lived in is just so valuable.
So with all the stuff going on with Netflix maybe buying Warner Brothers, I'm curious your take on, Jurassic Park's a good example of this, on whether movies have to be seen in theaters. Like for your enjoyment, would you have enjoyed Jurassic Park as much if you were watching that at home?
For the first time, I think something like that's like super in your face, I think I'd want it to be in theaters. Yeah. But then after that, I'm perfectly fine watching it at home.
For sure. I mean, I think the same thing, but I think movies were, especially a movie, as Cam said, like a Jurassic Park, is meant to have that type of IMAX or, being on the silver screen type of feel to it. You should be and it's aesthetically, it's the sound, it's just the overall experience, I think, is heightened in such a way that, and I miss the nostalgia, the romanticism of actually going to the movies. I can't remember. I think the last time I went to a movie in theaters was actually 2023. So we were obviously the 8 seed. We're playing in Milwaukee, and I went and saw Air. I think that was the last time.
That's crazy.
I went to an actual movie.
That's crazy. What's crazy about that, granted, your life makes it very difficult between your guys' schedule and the logistics of actually going to the theater in season and then family in the off season. It's just it's not like you have a ton of time to do it. But I think about some of the movies I've seen, One Battle After Another this year, the PTA movie, where I'm I think
PTA is great.
I think that movie, it's a great movie if you watch it on a laptop or you watch it on a plane or something like that. But I think that movie is like a 5X watching it in a theater. People were standing in line to watching it in 70 millimeter, which they only had at 3 theaters all over the country. Right. And so that's where it's amazing you're this much of a movie buff when you haven't even gotten to experience as much seeing it in its sort of finest form.
Against my religion to not go and do that. But still have had
There's got to be a Salt
Lake.
We got to find the Salt Lake. There's got to be some hipster theater in Salt Lake.
There is. There definitely is. And play old movies. I mean, that was a great part. When I was in Santa Monica or Venice, there was always, I spent just about 10 off seasons in LA, and they always had these old school, movie theaters that around this time it would be It's a Wonderful Life, A Miracle on 34th Street, the OG one, and all these great movies from, that are seasonal or, around Christmas, the holidays, and then just bleeding off into the rest of the year. They always play great stuff.
When's the last time creatively you were blown away by something?
Blown away is tough to kind of measure, but one movie I did see this summer was Him.
Did you like it?
I did. I liked it for what it was, and an over the top kind of representation of what we go through. And
I just watched it when I was up in Deer Valley. Just watched it for the first time.
I watched it with my 2 little brothers, and their views on it were dramatically different. Yeah. And one of them hated it, the other one loved it.
For sure.
And so it's like, just the over the top kind of fanaticism and culture that it touches on. I just thought it was appropriate in terms of like highlighting and blowing up some portions of our game and some portions of kind of the things that we see in life.
Yeah. Race. Just on a lot of race.
Yeah.
Do you have a current hottest film take? We've gotten into fights before about different takes. So I'm just curious.
You're talking about Citizen Kane, where I'm like, come on, it changed film forever. Orson Welles, all time great. Hot take. I don't know. What's yours? You gotta give me a jumping off point here.
Well, I don't know that this is necessarily a hot film take as much of a prediction, but you guys, so Marty Supreme, I got the hat.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are gonna love it. It comes out this week. I don't know if you've been following all the marketing that Timmy in particular has been doing for it. And Josh Shafty directed it. It's his Uncut Gems was the last thing he did. This is the next one. The marketing that Timmy is doing is going to make the movie a massive success financially, but it's going to hurt him with the Academy at the Oscars, is my prediction.
Explain.
So I wouldn't necessarily that it's like a take as much as it is more of like, this is what I think is going to happen because, and I think this is like, I don't think he would trade it in for the world. I think that the Academy and these voting bodies are filled with people who don't like somebody to go outside the box. And they don't like them to be as sort of like outwardly confident and braggadocious as he is. It's almost in a way it'd be like if like you guys decided one day you're like every day you're going to talk about either All-Star or MVP, whatever, any award thing. Except I actually think that the voting base who are voting for those awards are a little bit more reasonable and a little bit less judgy than the Academy.
Yeah.
And I think they'll punish him for this. I think that they will be like, you need to pay your dues.
Man, I'm all about, especially in terms of creating art. That's what I worry about too, is like, art house films and, you see these companies buying the Netflix and Paramount and, that you're going to have these like huge tentpole strategies where you're only making these hundreds of $1 million movies.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be able to actually create art or, somebody's going to put you in a box. Like I actually love and respect that the willingness to do that, no matter the outcome with somebody who's going to vote on giving you awards. Like I look at what it took till The Revenant for, to win an Academy Award for, of course, who. It's like, it should have been a long fucking time ago. Like you should have won for Wolf of Wall Street or Titanic or, so many other movies. But I think, it's like championships in our league, right? Like you discount the player for having not won championships and you throw that greatness to the side. Like, of course, but there's so many things that happen in order to get to that point. So much of luck and culture and demographic have to be on your side. So I'm happy that he is actually taking the chance to do that. If it hurts him with the Academy, I think if he's great enough, that won't matter in the long run.
Is there a difference between hurting him with can this simultaneously maybe hurt him with the Academy, but does it increase the public, magnify the public's perception of him?
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
And so
that's what I think.
So that
on the
trade-off
other
is
side
worth it then.
Totally.
Right?
100%. I talked to Josh today because I was like, I flew into Denver this morning and I'm like, the hat isn't like that loud of a hat. It just is a black hat that says the thing on it. And I had like 5 different people stop me.
Yeah.
The movie's not out. The movie's coming out this week. It's like, all he's been doing has been like, he's been just consistent, like old school marketing. And that basically is like, it's almost like people say this about Tom Cruise. Like Tom Cruise is like the last movie star. And so because Tom Cruise, like he does his own stunts, he jumps out of planes. What he does is not built for a small screen. When we get back to the conversation.
But like the definition of that is so funny. Cause like just talking about Leo there, it's like, I look at him, what he doesn't do his own stunts. The dude is like, it's insane what he's capable of.
Yeah, I think that there also is probably a distinction between the action and the in a weird way, Leo is like the best character actor ever, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
You know
he's
what I mean?
right
Like,
there. He's on the Mount Rushmore, 100%.
He is, but he is Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise.
Character
in
actors, yeah.
Yeah. Leo is
Tom
100
Cruise
different Leos.
is that no matter what he's doing, he it's Tom Cruise in a weird way. Like Denzel's like that too. Like it's always Denzel. Leo is
and that's how I felt about him in Gladiator. Like I'm like, that's Denzel.
He's a Brooklyn.
And the whole
accent.
time, like really good friend of mine, Brian Robbins, like I've known him forever. And I'm like, who cast him? He's like, I did. I was like, I just see Denzel. Maybe I'll watch the film and think otherwise, but like Denzel's one of the GOATs, obviously, but I just look at him and I'm like, it's Denzel.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me for the movie. It bothered a lot of people though.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's Denzel. Like it looks like almost like
I mean, it's just, I mean, you're looking down the barrel of greatness, but he's just,
It's just funny.
I can't say it any other way.
He's got the Brooklyn accent in 1700s Rome.
I love him though. I mean, I'm a huge fan.
great stuff, man. Thank you for joining us today, man.